And away we go. Welcome back to Bruce in the Philippines, the vlog. One of my followers asked me to do a video on the cost of living in the Philippines. And instead of saying, well, I've already done that, and you look back at my videos, something triggered me. Something triggered me related to my live stream this morning. And what I want to do is I want to talk about the true blue, the real cost of living in the Philippines. Stay tuned.
You ready? Five, four, three, two, one, go!
All right, and take a break, eat a chocolate bar, get some energy. So, we're going to go over the real cost, exactly what the cost is of living in the Philippines. Last year I did a video, it was a great video, got lots of good reviews on it, comments and feedback about utility bills and rents and cars and planes, trains and automobiles, what the expenses, the price of everything living in the Philippines. But there's a cost, even though we all may agree that there is a very great opportunity for, I will speak about the USD because I know nothing else, the conversion rates coming to the Philippines that gives you a wonderful opportunity to live a nice life, a nice, comfortable, materialistic lifestyle. One that you might not be able to enjoy in the US. And I agree with that. But there's a cost. While you are being a baller here in the Philippines, financially, materialistically, you get everything going for you. You are the sana all. You are the envy of the neighborhoods, of the barangays. There is a deep-rooted cost that many of us keep secret. Many of us shelter from even our spouses. Many of us don't share with our friends, if we have any. And the cost of living in the Philippines is a great, great emotional cost. Now, I could go all over the spectrum of how this emotional cost is triggered as you go to your day-to-day businesses. But I don't want to get into hating on the Philippines because I don't hate the Philippines and I don't hate Filipinos. But there are things that trigger me, that cost me. Keep in mind, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about you or anybody else that I know. I'm talking about me. And I figured if it affects me, maybe it's worth sharing. Maybe somebody can glean something off of this. So let's take a couple things, put them in context, wrap them all up. Let's talk about traffic. Let's talk about how if you are a frequent traveler in the Philippines, me and my wife, we have a nice Suzuki Jimny, 4-wheel drive. We travel everywhere, do a lot of traveling in it. And when we're not traveling out in the mountains and the beaches, we are here in our hometown. And being a daily driver in these towns, in these small cities, is so brutal. There are people that hate you. They hate you, and they will use their little piece of crap tricycle or jeepney or whatever they got, or their vehicle, their van with 3 wheels hanging off, and they will attempt to hit you. They will attempt to swerve into your lane and get you to hit them because there's a payday. There is a payday. And you, being a white-skinned foreigner are the bankroll for that payday. You see, being a foreigner in the Philippines, you have no rights. You can get your 13A visa like I have. You can process your permanent residency card, your status like I have. But at the end of the day, you are still considered a guest of the Philippines government. And you can stay here as long as they say you can stay here. If someday somebody at immigration wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and they say it's time for you to go, and they come up with a whole process and a whole reasoning why you need to go, then you know what? You're gone. That's it. You are gone. So, as far as being a white foreigner in the Philippines, you have no rights. You get in an accident, it's going to be your fault. Even though it's not your fault, it's going to be your fault. Even though it's blatantly somebody else's fault and you have dash cam to prove it, you know what? It's your fault. Somebody personally attacks you. Maybe you're on the front step of your home and somebody drives by and throws a brick at you. You're going to have a hard time prosecuting that person. You know, in the Philippines, and this is from my personal experience, people here use poverty. People here use poverty as an excuse to do something wrong. People here use poverty as a reason not to be accountable for their actions. Somebody crashes into your car, it's their fault? No, it's your fault. Why is it my fault? Well, they're poor. She's poor. She's a mother of three. Her husband left her. So you got to pay. If this sounds strange to you, it is, but it doesn't mean it's not true. Here's another emotional price that you pay coming to the Philippines. It's kind of like in those movies where somebody gets in a really bad car accident and they're in a coma and they wake up and maybe they're in the hospital, maybe they're in a hospital bed in their house with their husband and kids and family, and they wake up and they remember nothing. They have no idea who these people are. They have no idea of anything about their past. I've been here going on 5 years, and I'm starting to realize that. I'm starting to realize that there's a lot from my past that is kind of like falling off. It's falling off into oblivion. You know, as I moved here, family, family and friends who I thought I was tight with, they're gone. They're gone. I reach out to them every now and then, make comments on Facebook. You figured I'd make a comment on Facebook. Hey, you looking good? They say, hey man, how's it going in the Philippines? I hope you're doing well. Blah blah. It's nothing. You know. So your family and friends they're kind of falling off. That's falling off. How about your favorite places? Your favorite restaurant, your favorite bar, things, all the life that you did when you were based in the United States it's all gone. It's all gone. 100%. And you can talk about it. You can say, yeah, I remember living in the States. We'd go bike riding. We'd ride like 30, 40 miles. And, you try to share pictures on your phone with them. And people just look at it. It's like, oh, hmm, hmm. I mean, the memory, the vague memory is only yours. It's only yours. And you can't even share it with anybody because they don't get it. You know, you talk about being a veteran. People here they don't care. The only thing The only thing they know about a veteran is that in their minds you're rich. You know, that's the only thing they care about. You're a veteran. Ooh, he's rich. But you have this whole history of military service that you can't even talk to anybody about it because they don't understand it, nor do they even care. They don't care. They don't care. You know, they don't care how you got your disability rating. They don't care if you were blown up, if you were shot. They don't care if you've got PTSD. They don't care. And right now I'm sure there's people watching saying, "My wife's not like that. My family's not like that." Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I'm speaking for myself, right? Let's talk about, oh my gosh. So I tend to be a very quick-witted, funny, humor-based person. Really, really quick-witted with great one-liners. When you're an American living in the Philippines and you've got an opportunity for like a good zinger, good zinger, you know, like maybe you're playing volleyball or basketball, and somebody's getting ready to shoot, and you're like, hey, batter, swing. Where in the States, people would fall over laughing, you know, batter, swing. Here, they're just kind of like, it's like nothing's coming out of your mouth at all. So if you're a humor-based person and you're surrounded by people that 85, 95% of their language is Filipino, they might have like a 15 to 20% grasp on some English. Your humor, your sense of humor, it's it is gone. It is gone. Other memories of living in the States, you try to say, "Oh, this is my car, this is my boat, this is me skydiving." Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know, the Filipino nation is based, a lot of their attention, a lot of their entertainment, a lot of their daily function is based at the end of their arm, like this on a phone. You know, sometimes I'll put on a movie that I know is just fantastic. I know my wife would love this movie, and I'm willing to watch it for like the fourth or fifth time just to share it with her. I'll say, "Babe, come watch this movie," and she'll sit down, and like 5 minutes into it, she's on her phone. You know, and I know this to be true in a lot of cases, that Filipinos are very much addicted to their phones. And it's really funny because I've seen people, singing karaoke, and they're like reading the screen, and they know the song by heart, and they're singing the song, and they're scrolling on their phone as they're singing karaoke. What a skill set that is, right? But these are all emotional costs that you will encounter living here in the Philippines. You know, you can be surrounded by your family of Filipinos, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 people at a party, and you're alone. You're all alone. Kind of like if you ever traveled alone. You ever travel alone, and you get off your flight, you're making a connecting flight, and you're walking through the airport, and you're surrounded by like thousands of people, and nobody says anything to you. Nobody, like, nothing. You're alone in a crowd. That's kind of what it's like living here in the Philippines. Once again, I know there's people out here that are just steaming to like leave me a comment on this and tell me I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I do. But I do. This is everything that's like been accumulating and building up over the past four, going into my fifth year. And before you even begin typing, I don't hate the Philippines. I don't hate Filipinos. So please don't be that person that says, well, if you don't like it, why don't you go back to the States? If you don't like it, just go home. You know, don't tell me that. That's a cop out. That is a lack of being accountable for what I'm talking about. Truth be told, truth be told, if I could afford, if I could afford to bring my wife and daughter to the States and live the lifestyle that I'm living here, oh, I'd do it tomorrow. But I can't. I can't. The only way I could make that happen is to bring my wife and put her to work while we're there. I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of people that do that. You know, you see a lot of these AFAM couples that are living in America. It's the reverse. It's the polar opposite of what comes here, where you have the Filipino woman, just barely making ends meet, right? And then you infuse the American um, man into her life, and he's automatically bringing financial wonders into the situation. It's the same thing in America. You've got these guys in America. Oh boy, oh, man, I can imagine the comments. You got these guys in America that are just getting by, getting by. They're on their Social Security. They got a little savings. They're just getting by. Then they meet a girl online, Filipino, who's like an RN or has some type of professional career, and they get married, and he brings her to the United States. Boom, overnight, he puts her to work. Now she becomes the meal ticket while he sits at home. It's the polar opposite. So, um, keep that in mind. I mean, I could unpack this for days and days and days and tell you all the emotional struggles you will have here in the Philippines while you are living rich. You know, what everybody calls you, living rich, Kano rich, you know, where they don't understand. They don't understand. They don't see what it's like to be away from your family and friends, especially with a 12-hour time frame difference. It's hard to connect with anybody, but and I don't know about you for the Kanos and the foreigners that are out here watching this. I've often extended many invitations to friends and family, hey, come on over, do some scuba diving, or we'll do some hiking, we'll do some camping, traveling, or do some shopping, go hang out. It's like, no, no thanks. I'm not enduring 2 days of travel just to come to the frickin' Philippines. That's their attitude. So, but there is a lot that I like about living here, you know, and for the guys that are out there that are Pinoy baiting, you can always that they're so excited about the Philippines and they everything is perfect and the Filipinos are the most amazing people in the world and I've never lived any place like that. You know what I mean? You can tell their wife wrote the script for them, and if they say anything wrong, mm, they're gonna get it. And I just tell it like it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people on TikTok that are afraid to talk about their real experiences in the Philippines because they don't want their friends and family back home to laugh at them. Say, "Oh, look at him. He's over in the Philippines and he's having a tough time." We told him not to do it. We told him she's a scammer. We told him that he's just going there for money. They're afraid of that. I really don't care. But there is a lot that I like about the Philippines, and the magic to liking the Philippines. You gotta find your own little slice of paradise, and you gotta stay in it. You gotta stay locked down, you know, because there's a lot of discrimination here. There's a lot of hate here. Um, there's a lot of anger. When you're a white foreigner walking with a a Filipino woman, there's a lot of anger. Yeah. And in my mind I'm reading the comments. But it's true. There's a lot of people that just want to take advantage of you. Even when my wife says, "Oh, I let my wife do the negotiating." I don't have to. Nagasasalito ako Tagalog pero konti. I can speak enough Tagalog to negotiate any deal in the mall or the marketplace, any place I go. But I'm still white. I'm still Kano. So, but even if my wife is with me, we get ripped off, and then she catches it. You know, I mean, we're talking about even like the cable company. We went there and they overcharged me like 1,500 or 1,200, and my wife said, "Can I see that receipt?" I gave it to her. She's telling the guy, "You overcharged us," and they don't think twice about it. They don't think twice about it. Everybody from everybody from the local produce people to somebody at the mall, even with like retail prices being stamped on there, they're still going to try to overcharge you. You know, gas, you name it, clothing, food, restaurants. It's just it's insane, and you always have to be on the lookout. And when you're always on the lookout, whether it's emotionally, financially, or physically, it takes an emotional strain on you. It's an emotional cost of living in the Philippines. So is the monetary gain big for coming here? Yeah, it's huge. But there's an emotional cost that you better be prepared.